Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined tonight by a very special guest. We've had a couple of near misses, which, to be fair, when the first near miss happened, I was quite thankful because I was deep with COVID and so was Streets. We have the Omen, Spencer Oliver. How are you, man?
Gentlemen, I'm very well. How are you both doing?
COVID free.
There you go. All the better for having you on, mate. Thank you for joining us.
We had an absolute stinker, didn't we, with Zoom?
We did, mate. We've had a nightmare. For some reason, it weren't letting me in on the computer, but we've got round that. We're on the phone. We've got it done. We've got it sorted. Mate, I had a stinker with COVID as well, you know. Do you know what? I've got a great story about COVID. So I didn't know I had it. And I went into the bubble on when Derek Chisora was fighting Alexander Usyk.
Right.
So I went into the bubble, and you go straight to your room. You get tested, go straight to your room, sitting there for 24 hours, which I've got to tell you, boys, it's fucking hard. That's hard. It's very hard. Yeah. You know, it's not easy sitting in your room when you know you're not allowed out. It's a difficult thing. I got the phone call the following morning off the Big Neil, the security guard, says to me, Spence, we got a problem, mate. You're the only one that's got COVID. You've come back positive. And I'm like, no way. Stop joking me, mate. We're going. It was like 9 o'clock and we had a live to do at 9:30 with Usyk. I said, mate, I'm busy, Neil. Like, stop my stick around, mate. He's like, no, mate, honestly. So he says, we got to come up and get your stuff ready. I'm thinking, no. So I packed all my stuff up. Like, and there's a knock on the door like 10 minutes later, and there's 3 of them outside the door, but they've walked like 100 meters back, but they put all this stuff, hat, masks, everything that I've got to put on before I like fucking spacesuit that I've got to put on before I leave the hotel. This story gets worse. So before I leave the hotel, so anyway, as I walk out my door to leave the hotel, Wacker, who does all the cleaning in there, little guy, Scouse guy, wicked bloke, he's spraying me with fog as I'm walking down the corridor with this thing. So I'm looking like something out of Ghostbusters, and I'm getting sprayed out the door basically. I get outside the front door, and I'll go like, what's now? And they're like, well, can you get a cab or something? I went, well, of course I can't get a cab. I've got COVID. So they're like, can you ring your missus or something? So I had to ring my missus. I'm standing outside, but now by this stage, all the fighters are looking to come in, but they're obviously got to wait for me to leave because they've got to make it safe. I mean, they're brilliant on the security, and the way that they do things with this COVID thing's amazing. So my missus has got to come up, but in between that, I've got people like fans coming up to me going, Spence, like, who's going to win? And I'm standing there like in this stupid suit, and I'm like, mate, and they're like, can we get photos? Can we get photos? And I'm like, mate, I've got COVID. Please get away from me. Like,
are we talking like the full, like, taking down ET suit?
I had the full kit, man. I mean, it looked great, but as you got to understand, it's like there's a special road into your hotel room, because they do it properly, so that as soon as you get tested, you get escorted up into a lift that nobody else uses, and it takes you straight to the floor that you're on, which everyone's on. You have to go into your room, so it's done very well. But you've obviously got to go through that route again on the way out. It's like in the back door, out the back door sort of thing. But it was a shocker, man. So that's when I got COVID, and so we come home. Both the girls went and got tested straight away, and they were both negative. So I had to sit in my bedroom for 10 days. Mate, I'm talking about like a jail sentence. Like my Mrs. Nicola would like knock on the door, leave my dinner outside the door, and I had to pick the dinner up, put the plate back out. It was something else, man.
How many times did you leave a note that just said conjugal with a question mark?
Do you know what? And do you know the worst thing about it all was that I didn't have any symptoms. So after 10 days, I'm like, right, I'm going to get tested, because that was a false positive. I went and got tested, and I had it again. Yeah, it was. Fuck. It was shocking, mate. So there you go,
mate. Ian had it like bad.
Oh,
like,
really?
The inside of his face started like falling out. He was in tatters.
I was bleeding. I didn't even know that was a symptom, but my nose was pissing blood.
Really?
Like, yeah. And like, you know, when you lose all the energy, I stopped drinking water because I didn't have the energy to come downstairs to piss. Like it was just, you feel like mush. And
you know, yeah, I've had friends the same like that. Like I've had friends, like healthy friends, man, that have had it like really bad, and others like myself. I was like asymptomatic, so I was lucky. I got away with it. But like, how can this virus, this fucking virus,
weird, right?
affect one person that way and another person another way? And like, I'm sleeping in bed with my missus until the night I've obviously left. Yeah. She's not got it, and I have. How does that work?
It's
so
madness.
I had the same. So I tested positive, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really have any real symptoms. I was just like unbelievably tired. Like couldn't get through the day without having like an hour and a half, 2 hour nap. Like just a puddle. Like the idea of anything physical was just a no-no. But felt overall fine. My wife tested negative and she had an inconclusive, and the kids are too young to be tested. It's just, and like, you know, obviously we didn't even realize for the first bit, we're in the same bed, we're in the same house, the whole lot.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
Fucking nuts.
Crazy.
Man.
Fucking crazy, man. And I mean, look, are we getting through it? Are we getting any nearer to getting through this pandemic, man? It's like frustrating. This second, I don't know about you boys, but this second lockdown for me has been a lot tougher than the first one. The first one felt like a little bit of a break. We had the sun shining. It was like you're looking at the clock. You're in the garden, like you're chilling out, looking at the clock. Going, is that 1 o'clock? Can I get a beer now? And it's like my missus going, no, you can't. It's Tuesday. It's like, oh, yeah, but no one's doing anything. But this second one, I think with it being winter and everyone now pissed off for being indoors, it's like, yeah, I feel for people, man. I feel for people a lot. It's been a lot tougher this second one.
It's just not knowing when it's going to fucking end. The first time you're like, it's such a new thing. And now you've done it and it ended up being a bit shit after a while. So you're like, all right, can we wrap this up now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the first one was like a break from a hectic lifestyle. And you're like, yeah, this is cool. I can get used to this. And then it's like a year later, really? Come on.
What happened to 14 days? Fuck
yeah, exactly. Well, that's where we was at, didn't we? We thought, oh, we're going to be in here for 6 weeks. This is mad. Like now we're like 12 months. Shit.
I mean, that was it. Like I was shitting myself when it was like March. You're like, maybe we're back in the game by June.
Yeah.
Like I reckon, like me and my wife are having like chats. We're going through like the account. Like, you know, we've got like 3, 4, 5 months if we really stretch it out. If there's nothing to be done, and then you're like, wow, it's been a year with a little bit of teasing every now and again to let you go free, isn't it? It's just been naughty.
Thank God for the fights. God, keeping us sane.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. That's why I'm glad that, like, I listen, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Bob Arum, you know, they've all done so well to keep boxing going, man. It's like like the loopholes that they've had to jump through. Like I said, like explaining what they go through with all the testing, etc. Like, and how tight they are on it. Do you know what I mean? Like how stringent they are on it, how strict they are on it. It's like they've put a lot of work in to keep boxing going the way it's going, man. I feel sorry for the small hall promoters, you know, the ones that need 80% capacity just to break even on a lot of them. Like they haven't had no business now for a year. And it's tough because I think it's going to affect a lot of boxers going down from the grassroots, you know, kids that sort of want to turn pro, they don't sign up for the big promoters, they look to build careers and whatnot. It's like, you know, we're going to lose a whole generation of boxers, I think, if it continues much longer, if I'm honest.
Do you think so?
I really do, because you know, these kids that, like, say some of the young boxers that we've got that are coming through that box on those small hall shows, you know, they rely on boxing every 8 weeks or 12 weeks, whatever, to try and just put food on the table. Now, they can't do that now, and it's been the best part of a year. They've got, some of them have got young families to keep. They've got to go out and get jobs, and they have to move away from the sport. You know, they sort of miss the boat, if you like. So, you know, I've spoke to numerous people, Eddie Hearn, you know, Frank Warren. And they all feel the same. They think, you know, much longer, and we're gonna lose a generation, which is a shame, because the amateur boxing gyms have been shut as well. And look, you boys know what it's like when you're, say, 16, and you're at that very fine line of, do I continue boxing or do I then go out and start finding parties, girls, drink, etc. They lose the momentum, man. They lose the motivation for it. You know, when you're a 16-year-old, 12 months out of your life is a long time. You know, things change. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Well, look, I hope it doesn't really like yield that much damage to the sport. But now you've said that, it's a pretty good point. Especially like if someone's got like a little sponsor or someone that just keeps them going, and that's contingent on them doing whatever, you know, that's gonna. Yeah,
I mean it's the knock-on effect too. We got a friend who's waiting for a debut, and you kind of need to do it in the UK for the boards to take you on board for fighting here, you know, if you do your debut. So there's all those sorts of things where if you already had a fight pre-COVID, you'd probably be all right. You can travel if that's available, but it's already not that many slots available, and it gets limited for exactly like you said, the ones coming up. So
yeah, of course. So let's hope that, sort of, I don't know, the vaccinations get sorted, things start opening up, start getting crowds back in, and it may save a few careers. Let's hope so. Anyway, it's frustrating. I know I've spoken to a few kids that are sort of at that stage when they're going, what do I do now? I need to continue working, and I can't train because I can't put the time in. You've got young families to keep. So yeah, it's tough, man. It's very tough.
Everyone's going to move to Texas.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck, do they?
They don't care.
No.
They don't care. They're like,
COVID. All right, let's
so
yeah, we've got 90,000. We'll cut it down to 70, 75 with a bit of spillover. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
Yeah.
Spence, listen, you're a little bit older than me, right? And at the time where you was like hitting your like Sky Sports, Eurosport era, like, I loved watching you fight because your style was so, I was saying the streets earlier, like it's almost like the modern day Ingle style, but 25 years ago, 20 years ago,
sure.
right?
Sure.
And like, first of all, like, where did that come from? Because you were different, like, you're super different.
Yeah, do you know what it was? It was that I was like sort of a little bit different to all the other kids, as in like mine was all hard work. Like because I had a trainer, Jackie Lee, who was brilliant, and he started training me at the age of 12. And I used to do the abnormal things at the age of 12. So my career started like he would pick me up to go running at 5:30 in the morning. I lived in Barnet at the time. And he'd drive me over to Hampstead. We'd start running at 6, do the run, finish about 7. Then we would go into the dressing rooms, jump in the pond. This is a 12-year-old kid, right? Jump in the pond, go have breakfast, and then he would drop me off at school. And then like 3 times out of the 5 that he dropped me off at school, I would fuck off back straight through the fields, go like sign in the register, because you could do that, then go straight back home and get in bed because I was tired. I put all the eggs in one basket. But that's what I used to do as a 12-year-old kid until I finished my career. And I would do that 5 days a week, like Monday to Friday, and sometimes we'd do it on a Sunday morning. But as I progressed and I started winning stuff, then I would do it. I was doing it more 6 days a week, regular. But that's what I was doing as a young kid. And I think it was, with me, it was just all hard work. And I used to watch a lot of fights, study a lot of fighters, take a little bit from him, a little bit from him. And yeah, and that's sort of pretty much how it panned out, if I'm honest. I sort of had a successful amateur career, won everything you could win as an amateur through like schoolboys, junior ABAs, senior ABAs, Commonwealth Games, etc.
Yeah.
And my big regret, if I'm totally honest, is not doing the Olympics, because I boxed in the Commonwealth Games in the finals. It was in Canada in '94, and I boxed a guy called Robbie Peden, who went on to win a world featherweight title. And I lost 2018 in a fight that I thought I won, and it was the first Commonwealth Games with computer scoring, and I lost by effectively 2 punches, and I was so pissed off. I was only a 19-year-old kid as well.
Yeah,
I decided, you know what, this game is not for me, and I got an offer on the table to turn pro, and I turned pro. And my biggest regret is I would have only been 21 for the '96 Olympics, and a kid that I beat in a multi-nations tournament won a silver that year in the '96. And that was one of my big regrets in boxing, like turning pro too young.
That's Barcelona, weren't it?
No, but the '96 was Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah, great Olympics to be at.
Oh, fuck.
And that was one of my fucking big regrets, if I'm honest. And like sort of, I turned pro, but then by the time I was 21, which was when the Olympics were on, by the time I was like 21, I was European champion. I was like fucking number 2 in the world by the WBC and WBO. Everything happened so fast for me. Like I'd had 11 fights, and I'd got an opportunity to box for the European title. Won the European title with a kid that was ranked like number 5. Now all of a sudden I find myself like 11 fights into a pro career that I'd only been pro 2 years, and I'm number fucking 5 in the world at the time, and European champion. It just happened so fast.
Yeah, but that kind of shows what I was saying. Like, you were mesmerizing to watch. Like, it was, it was towards the end of like Hamed was massive, but you were like the next wave. Well,
yeah, me and Hamed used to box on the England courses together. So like me and Naz, when we were young kids, from like 13 to 17, we sparred a lot together. We was like, Naz was always one lighter than me. This is a mad thing. I won the schoolboy title at 54 kilos. And I finished my boxing career at 55 kilos. I put on 2 pounds from when I was a 14-year-old kid. It was like mad. And yeah, but Nasser was always like me. So we used to spar together. So we had history together. And that was a fight that was always going to happen. That was a fight that we was always looking for. And I was struggling to make super bantamweight. Nas was featherweight champion at the time. I was like number 2 in the world at that weight. And the plan was to win a world title and move straight up so that we had some bargaining tools to box Nas with. That was like the ultimate goal. But everything went tits up in my last fight, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, you know, like you're very, very lucky to be here, and like that, is a testament to the board, and they did everything right. Plus, like is it your cornerman?
Yeah. So it's a really sad story actually. So my cornerman was my head trainer was Jackie Lee, but my cut man was a guy called Eddie Carter who used to work for the NHS at Barnet General Hospital, but studied the sport inside out. So he was the one who was going to do all my cuts, but he knew, he just studied everything. He was a very knowledgeable, very intelligent guy. And I sustained a blood clot to the right side of my brain in defending my European title for the 4th time at the Royal Albert Hall. It was my big breakthrough, and this was like the big fucking coming of Spencer over, and this was the time. So Sky got right behind it all, and they were really pushing it, and things didn't go right. I got caught in the first round, got a really bad nosebleed, and I've got no sort of bone in my nose, so I never got nosebleeds. And that was from a bleed from the brain. And as the fight went on, the blood clotting, I collapsed in the 10th round, and Eddie Carter was the one that told the anaesthetist to put a line in me because he saw me fitting. He said, put a line in him and put him asleep, put me in a coma in the ring, basically. We shut everything down and stopped any damage to the brain. They took me to the National Neurological Hospital in Queen's Square, where I underwent a scan to see that I had a blood clot on the right side of my brain. So I went under the knife and they operated. It took like 3 hours. I was in a coma for like 2 weeks. And when I come round and I just remember looking up and there was like my mum there, my dad there, my brother. And I was thinking, fuck me, I thought I was in the dressing room still at the Royal Albert Hall. This was 2 weeks later. Yeah, and I had like 98 staples going around the side of my head. They sort of like removed the right side of my head and then put it back and fucking stapled it all together. But I remember looking and thinking, fuck. And I'm looking around and I had this, like, because I had the catheter in and stuff, I had this tube down my throat. And I was looking, thinking, fucking hell, I must have been knocked out. I'm in the dressing room. I thought, wow, what's going on? Because I obviously didn't remember the fight. Then they sort of like asked me, and I said, look, one of the doctors, once they took all the tubes out, says, look, Spence, do you know where you are? And I went, and I'm looking around, I thought, I'm not in the dressing rooms. And I was like, they was like, I'm in my hospital. And they went, yeah. And I went, Barnet General, because that's where I live. And they said, no, you're not in Barnet General, but listen, you've had a bit of an accident. And I was thinking, fucking hell, I'm going to have to take a year out here. Like, I was still thinking I could box. I was like, wow, this must have been bad. And then like 3 days later, they asked me to get up and try and walk, and I had to learn to walk again, and it was all mad. But all this time, Eddie, who operated me, was sort of like by my side, and he was there, and he was telling me everything was going to be all right. And so I sort of went on this mad journey of just like rebuilding my life. They took me into when the first time I started to walk, I had a Zimmer frame, and I walked into the toilet. The first time I could go to the toilet because I never had the catheter in, and I had half my hair shaved down the middle with these staples. It looked like fucking like a tennis ball, and it was really swollen out. And then I recognised, listen, your career's over. At that point, I recognised it was over, and it was all about rebuilding my life. But yeah, that guy Eddie that saved my life ended up taking his own life, mate. With I don't know, two years ago or so. Just under, he suffered with mental health. He works for the NHS as well. They didn't recognise it. He kept going to them saying he had problems. They didn't recognise it. And he took his own life, which was devastating because obviously he saved my life. So I owe him. I owed him my life. And he spent a lifetime saving everybody else's lives, only to take his own because they didn't recognise what was going on in his life. Like his daughter would take him up. It was, a tragic story, man. Really sad. It was one of those,
Bless him, man. Bless him.
Yeah. What a great man, like Eddie Carter. Yeah, incredible.
I mean, it's mad because like it's changed a lot now where mental health is like, I'm massive in it. Like, I think most people should be working on themselves in some capacity, irrelevant of what has or hasn't happened. But like, it's the fighters that are the biggest proponents of it now, which is really good.
Helps a lot.
Yeah, it really does.
Do you know what it is in this day and age, right? So you can imagine what I went through there as a 23-year-old kid. I just turned 23. My career was over. My life was in tatters. I didn't know what the fuck to do with myself. I didn't know what I was going to do. And mental health was not a known thing then.
Yeah.
So like I would have like my mum saying to me, I'm sitting there crying every day going, what? She go, look, Spence, look, you've come out all right, you know. Look at like Michael Watson and look at like you're fortunate that like, you know, you've come out. And I'm like, Mum, like I'm physically I might be all right, but inside's fucked. I'm like, you know, like, and I had like 3 or 4 really dark years where I didn't recognize what mental health was. No one knew what it was. And I think that's what's so good about it now, that because it's been highlighted, everybody's good to talk about it and people recognize it. So they pay attention. Whereas when I was younger, I sort of went through that. And when I look back on it, I think to myself, wow, man, I was in a really dark place, but didn't know it myself because I don't think there was really a term for the terminology for mental health. I don't think it was a recognized illness, if you like.
No, it's just man up and get on with it.
It was man up, bottle it up,
exactly
keep going.
Yeah.
But like depression has been a thing for a long time. But then unless you had something like bad happen to you, or you suspected you were like schizophrenic, or insert any of like the widely known issues, I don't think it was. Like I think it all kind of changed probably like 2005, 6 maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was.
I think there was a big push after the bombing. You know, the 7/7 bombing. There was a lot of stuff after that.
Yeah, because there was, you know, there is a lot of fallback on, you know, them sort of situations. Like, you know, it's not the people that lose their lives; it's all the families that surround them and all the heartbreak and everything else. And I think you're right that, you know, people started recognizing that mental health was a serious thing, and we're seeing it a lot more now. This lockdown's not done too much favors to a lot of people as well. You know, young and old. Different people in different situations have struggled. Like I've got an 18-year-old daughter, and it's been tough for them. Well, she's 17, she's 18 on the 8th, so she had her 17th birthday in lockdown, and she's got her 18th on the 7th of April, which is in lockdown as well. You think these kids? Imagine what we were like when you turned 18. Fuck, I was going out partying, and it was like life was good. I just feel sorry for these kids as well as sort of, you know, our generation and people that are losing jobs. The kids are struggling like mad as well.
I mean, like the only benefit to it is that they are completely different as like beings compared to. Sure. I mean, I've got a 4 and a 6-year-old, right? And like the things that they have at 4 and 6 when we were 4 and 6, mate, it's just like fucking witchcraft.
Yeah. I mean, this shit didn't exist. Like you can still see your friends even though it's through a screen. They spend half the time doing that anyway. You know what I mean? So
we never even had fucking phones, did we? Like they've got FaceTime now. We never even had like. My communication as a kid when I was like a 7 and 8-year-old kid is my mum would open the door and go, right, don't come back in till it gets dark. And that's what it's like. And you would go and create your own fun because it was safe to go out then. You'd go out and you'd play army with your mates or, you know, 1, 2, 3 block home or any of them sort of games. And you go, right, it's getting dark now. Or don't come home till the street lights come on. That's what she used to say. And you go, shit, the street lights are on. I've got to go. And you'd run home wherever you're at. But it's a different world now. Like, you know, the kids sit in their bedrooms, they're on their phones. Like you say, they've got contact with their mates. So, yeah, I suppose it is slightly different. But, it's you know, it's been tough for a lot of people in various ways, really.
Mad.
Mate, massive respect, because it's hard enough when you stop fighting, irrespective, and that's what you identify yourself as. And when that changes, so it's such a struggle being like, what the fuck am I now? Let alone when you're like literally at the pinnacle of it and it's just about to go. Hugest respect, man. Like fucking hell, that must have been
it's insane, bro. Like, do you know what it is that every boxer, once they finish boxing, loses their identity because everyone knows them as the boxer. So once the boxing's over and you lose that identity, then you've got to try and find your next path in life, which is difficult because boxers live, eat, sleep the game. Like I say, like I was up at 6 in the morning to go running. Then I was back in the gym at 12 in the afternoon. And I was back in there at 7 at night. Then by 9 at night, you're fucked, you're asleep. And it's like, you're like a hamster in a wheel. It's just like, it's like Groundhog Day. So, you know, when that's over and you lose your identity and all of a sudden you're not the man and the next guy's coming through, you'd think, fuck, what, like, I need to find a new I need to find a new direction in life. And that's the difficult thing, I think. And then obviously I was a 23-year-old kid. So not only have I got to find a new direction in life, I've gone walking into a ring as number 2 in the world and a young kid with a world at my feet, and woken up 2 weeks later still thinking I'm going into the ring or I'm at the fight, with everyone saying to me, it's all over, you're done. Like, I didn't even have the fight beaten out of me. Like, I was just told it was over. And that was for me that was a really difficult journey, if I'm honest, guys. That was something that was a head fuck for a few years. I was just lucky that I was employed by Skylight that happened to me in May the 2nd, 1998, my last fight. And I think August 1998 was the first time I worked for Sky. I suppose Sky saw me as a good advert. They saw me as a good advert because I'd been through what I'd been through. I'd come out, and where a lot of people thought, why would you not turn your back on a sport that nearly took your life? I went, but if you knew what the sport done for my life, it saved my life, it saved me, and it molded me as a person. It created me as a person. So I feel blessed and fortunate that, you know, boxing has always been a savior for me, and that's sort of like the only way to. So I'm a sort of geezer that I turn any negative into a positive. I don't look at. I'm not a negative person. I'm a positive person, and I think that in life, I think, you know, if you're surrounded by, if you're around someone that's very negative and very, like, you don't want to be near that person, do you? Because they don't give off a good energy. So that's what I thought. I thought, if I fucking walk around going, oh, my career's over, you know, my life, fuck this, fuck boxing, blah, blah, blah. Who's going to want to be a piece of that? No one. You know, and you know, and it sounds like, oh, yeah, Spencer was dealt a rough card. But if you look around at what's going on in the world, mate, I've done all right. I've been very fortunate. So, yeah, shit happens to everyone in every walk of life, you know.
It's almost more tragic, well, not more tragic, but it's fucking tragic that most people live their lives and don't find that thing that catches them.
Yeah.
You had it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
So with your positive, you know, at least you were at the world thing. You fucking stormed through that. Some people just kind of the day to day. It's a bit
I had a taste of it, you know. I had a taste of it, and now I talk about the sport that I love, and I do it, you know. And I'm traveling the world with, you know, going to these fights and living the dream, man. It's like. Yeah, so listen, but I'm not coming here to give you a sob story. I'm just
it's fascinating.
My story's the journey, but what I'm saying is, on that journey, mate, it's been a lot of ups and downs. But I suppose for me, it's all about, you know, like, everybody gets kicked in the teeth, everyone gets kicked in the bollocks, but it's how you come back from that creates you as a person. I think that's what people have got to take from. Listen, everyone in every walk of life gets a knockback for whatever reason, and you just got to get up, dust yourself off, and get on with it, man, because otherwise life will eat you up.
I mean, how much conversation was there between you and Sky before you was just like, yeah, I'll have a go? Or was there any sort of like, because it's a daunting thing, isn't it?
So what happened was that it was my old manager Jess Harding wrote to, he was like sort of best mates with Barry Hearn. He still is best mates with Barry Hearn, and like, I was like Barry was always close with me. I boxed on Eurosport with the first 9 fights with Barry and whatnot. And yeah, so Jess was speaking to Barry and said, look, Barry was big mates with Vic Wakelin, who was the head of Sky Sports Boxing at the time. Unfortunately, you know, the late Vic Wakelin, great guy, who unfortunately passed away, you know, not so long ago. But he was good mates with Vic Wakelin, and Eddie, I think, like Jess said to Barry, can you have a word with Vic? And like, you know, Spencer, they were building him up. Spencer's charismatic, you know, he'd like to have a go at doing punditry. So I said, just look, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life now, mate. I'm like, and I want to stay involved in the sport. Yeah. So I think Barry had a word with Vic, and Vic said, you know what, he's a good advert for the sport because the kid's been through what he's been through. He's doing really well. Let's get him on. And then they give me an opportunity. It was on a fight. I think it was Patrick Mullins was boxing someone, Simon Ramoni or something, up north somewhere for an IBO world title, and they give me the opportunity to work on that, and they liked it. And 23 years later, I'm still doing it. So yeah, that's pretty much how it went. That's how I got the opportunity. I think that, yeah, he had a word. I wrote to them as well and said, listen, I've told them about my passion for the sport still and how I was a good advert, and I sort of sold myself to them really like that. And they thought, why not? Let's give him a chance. And it's a very cutthroat business. If you're good enough, you're good enough. And if you ain't, you know, that's it. You're not. We can't use you. So, yeah, I just put in a lot of hard work. If I'm honest, I do my homework. I do, you know what I mean? And I think it's because I'm passionate about the sport. Passion in life carries you anywhere, man. If you're passionate about something, look, you boys are passionate about this podcast and successful, you do it. See what I mean? And I'm just passionate about the sport. I love the sport. And yeah, hopefully that comes across when I do my punditry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it 100% does. Are you the longest standing pundit still in the game now, or has Johnny got you out a little bit?
No,
you are, aren't you?
I was commentating on Johnny's fight when he boxed. I was actually a pundit for when Johnny boxed, and me and Johnny are like best mates now. Me and Johnny, we've got we just bought a fitness app out actually.
Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, we're loving that, mate. We're like two old ex-time boxers, and what we're trying to say is we're not like this young muscly geezer that's doing it, all these reps. And so the person that's looking at it, we're going, right, we're teaching you with loads of boxing tutorials on there. We teach you how to box, doesn't matter how fit you are and how old you are. There's a journey for everyone there. But we're like, what we're doing is we're going, come on, we'll go on a journey with you. We'll get fit with you. We'll do it. Yep. And so you're learning it all. So it's a little bit of saying for everyone. That's Box Pro Fitness. That's honestly, if you've not downloaded really good. Anyone really good. Download it. It's
get involved, guys.
So, so going back to Johnny, I was commentating. I was a pundit on his fight when he beat Cole Thompson. In 1999 for the world title. So, yeah, I'd finished long before Johnny had finished, if I'm honest. I finished in 98. I think he finished in 2000 and whatever. And then Johnny come on board. So, the answer to your question is, I'm the longest
aren't you?
Guy there, mate. Yeah.
It's the OG. Like Go on.
Yeah, man. So, you know what the scary thing is, though, boys, right? Is that I was the young kid when I done that. I was like 23 when I went on there. So there was all like Barry McGuigan, Duke McKenzie, Jim Watt, Glenn McCrory, all those guys. And I was the young kid on there. Now I'm the fucking old guy. You know, and it's like you think, oh, mate, like where did that
happen?
Where did that happen? You know what I mean? I remember when I was a young kid, my trainer used to go to me, look, Spence, enjoy this, mate, because it'll soon be over. And I used to look at him and think, fuck off, you old bastard. What are you talking about?
What are you trying to bring me down for, guy?
Yeah. Now I'm the old bastard. It's just like, oh, my God. But it's true, though. Where does that time go, boys? I don't know.
I don't know.
Crazy.
Fucking in a blink one day, you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, crazy.
Have you had any absolute clangers on air? Have they had to use that 5-second button?
I've never had like I think if you have a clanger on air in what we do, there ain't a 5-second button, mate. Like no, there's a 5-second button on radio, and you've got a producer there that will be able to do that for sitting on the outside, but not when you're live. There's no 5-second button, so it's like the only 5-second button would happen is if you did say a clanger on air is the 5-second button that the eject seat out of the studio. See you later, mate. So yeah, it's mad because I swear a lot as in normal life.
That's why I was asking, because you speak like we do.
I do.
I'm not sure how well I do on a camera. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a I think it's so impregnated into me now that it's like I just go to TV mode when you have to. It's mad. It's mad.
How did you move into Pound for Pound with Jake?
So me and Jake met, where did we meet? About, must be 12, 14 years ago, maybe, something like that, longer than that. We met, it's a funny story, this. We met at a boxing show. I think it was Ali Pally, someone was boxing. And Adam Smith introduced me to Jake his hotel. And I said, yeah, do you know what? I'm a big EastEnders fan, mate. I love EastEnders, blah, blah. How you doing? Nice meeting you. He said, yeah, really good, mate. Nice meeting you. I was working on the show at the time, and that was it. See you later, nice. And that was like, come on, I met Max Branning at the show, mad. So that was it. So the next morning, I drive. So Jake lives out like in Turing Way, and I live in Potter's Bar. So in the middle of us is the Galleria, which is in like sort of Hatfield Way. So the Sunday morning, me and Nick will go to the Galleria to get something. So it's like 4 miles this way. Jake comes 4 miles that way. I go to pay to park in the car park. Jake comes up, goes to pay for his car. And I'm like, no way. Like, how you doing, mate? I said, what, you live around this way? And he's like, yeah, I live just up the road. And I was like, fuck me, I live just down the road. And he was like, why don't you come round for a barbecue one day? So, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. He would, look, I'm having one tomorrow, come tomorrow. And that's how the journey started. So me and Jake Wood met in a car park. There you go. Yeah, it weren't nighttime, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to tell that whole story otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that's 100% the clip that I'm going to tell Jake to use for promo.
Exactly.
That's going to be it, right? Yeah.
So that's how we met, and we become good mates. Jake's a massive boxing nut.
Yeah.
So obviously he'd come to a lot of shows that I was working on and etc. And yeah, so his agent at the time, Alex Segal, his brother Ross Segal, decided, put it to us once. He said, "Listen, like he works for a different company, and he's into podcasts and stuff like that. Me and Jake didn't even know what podcasts were, and he said, look, you two should do a podcast about boxing. The boxing man and the boxing fan. Like Jake would bring his audience, you would bring your audience, two different audiences, and you could use boxing as the umbrella and get guests on. Like we've had Gary Lineker on, we've had Ray Winston on, we've had loads of guests on, like mad guests, like Middleton, like obviously Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, etc. They're really good. But yeah, then that's how it come about. So we was like, yeah, let's give it a go. And I think the first one we ever done was Tony Bellew, and we spoke to Tony Bellew, and he was in America, he was at Disneyland. So we speaking to him, his missus was having a go at him, he was doing a podcast with us, and I don't know what the fuck we was talking about. And then the second one we done was Tyson Fury. So we done Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury, he was in Marbella. And then the third one we done was, I think, Ray Winston. And Ray Winston...
It's not a bad lineup, that.
Oh, mate. And Ray Winston was in Sardinia, because he's living out there. So, not Sardinia, Sicily. He's living out there. And we spoke to Ray, and he was like, Ray, there's a really bad reception, mate. What are you doing? And he was like, I'm walking up a hill, mate, because we don't get no reception out here. And I was like, fucking hell, mate.
You know, 100% he was in them orange Sexy Beast Speedos as well the whole time.
You know it. So yeah,
has to have been.
Ray's a good mate, actually. So yeah, and that's how it come about. So we use boxing as the umbrella, and we talk to people like their involvement in the sport, and they got some mad stories, and that's how Pound for Pound come about.
I mean, it was one of the ones like we like have modeled is the wrong word, but like when you look at like who are the ones running the game in your nation, you know, you've been the ones that we've looked at.
Yeah, do you know why? Because do you know what, like you boys are here, which is like when you add in the odd fuck and everything else, you always get the odd people go, oh, can't listen to that, my son can't listen, that's too much. But generally, people really love it. Like I've spoken to people because Sky have got their one toe to toe, and but they're under a banner. They've got to be very
careful,
straight talking everything else. But we sort of like you boys keep it real, and we chit chat like normal, and people swear. And when you swear with guests or do whatever, it relaxes the guest. It brings the best out in them because it becomes conversational.
Yeah, exactly.
And to the listener loves it because he's listening to two guys. Wow, man, listen to that. I'm listening.
They become the fourth person in the convo.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's sort of that's how we kept it. You know, we talked about it and said, listen, how do you want to do this? And I went, keep it real, mate. Like, you know, you're gonna get, obviously some people don't like it, they don't like swearing or whatever, but you know, podcasts we're not under a banner, and it's not like we're not offending anyone. We're just talking as we normally talk.
This is it, isn't it? And
why not?
It's a selective thing. Like either listen, don't listen. Like it makes no difference.
Yeah. There's podcasts out there. Like I say, we're boxing podcasts. There's podcasts out there that if you don't like that, you know, there's great podcasts out there, great podcasts that you can go on and listen to that have got no swearing. Like I say, like Toe to Toe and all that. That are very informative, brilliant podcasts if you want to know, you know, your stats and your this and that. But we're just sort of very relaxed about it all, and we chat about things, and names are forgotten, and we have a bit of a laugh about it, or names are pronounced wrong. And you know, I think it's good, man. That's I'm having fun doing this one for the same reason. It's like just keep it real.
I mean, sometimes
pronunciation is the bane of my fucking life, man. Like I swear, while the fight's going, you hear the commentators like, "Yep, got it." Come say like, shit.
Exactly. Has anyone seen that Mike Tyson podcast? Have you seen that?
Hot, I fucking love hot boxing.
But listen, mate, that's what I'm talking about. But you see, when he's in there and he's got everyone smoking weed and
he's on his nut on mushrooms.
And he's gone and all that. But what I'm saying is, it's a great listen.
Yeah, you know, it is.
You know, it's a great listen, man. And then Mike will, he'll be laughing, then he's crying, and But actually,
let's be honest. I don't think any one of us would be not completely and utterly petrified having Mike Tyson off his canister on mushrooms, right? if he's giving you a hug, you're going limp and just hoping for it to be over.
Yeah.
Mate, did you see he did Logan Paul's one, right? And he literally had all of the shrooms in the side of his mouth. And by the time that they'd started to really kick in, they started to ask him about Logan fighting Floyd.
Yeah.
And he literally just went, this motherfucker hasn't got a single chance. He's gonna die. And you're just like, oh.
Yeah, I know.
Respect.
I'm actually guilty for introducing YouTube boxing. I was the one that created YouTube boxing. And me and a guy called Stuart Jones, who was the agent of KSI, approached me and said, Spencer, we've got this fight with kid called KSI wants to fight Joe Weller, but we don't know how to put on a boxing show. And I'd never heard of KSI or Joe Weller. And I went, no problem, mate. He went, look, we love what you do with Boxing with the Stars because me and Jake do these charity boxing matches. He said, would you be up for helping us put on the show? I said, yeah, of course, mate. I said, listen, where are you going to do it? And he's like, we're doing it at the Copper Box. I went, no, whoa, Stuart, let me stop you, mate. That's 7,000 people. Hold on, what's happening? That's 7,000 people, mate. I went, he went, no, we've sold all the tickets. We just don't know how to put on the event. I went, what? And so I Googled like KSI, Googled like Joe Weller, and like, fuck, who are these kids? Because I didn't know nothing about YouTube. So Stuart come down to EastEnders. Jake went, yeah, bring him down to the EastEnders set. We went on to, so I took him down to Albert Square. We went on there and we had a bit of lunch down there. And we said, yeah, we can put on the show for you. So we put on that show and that was really successful. So we then put on Logan Paul versus KSI in Manchester. And we put that show on as well. So, and then Eddie Hearn took over from there. It's like, yeah, cheers, Ed. Cheers, mate.
And now look at us.
You know what? But now it's become big. It's become big news, man. They're generating loads of money.
I actually trained KSI for the Weller fight when he first started off.
No way.
Had the exact same thing. I was like, who's KSI? Like, because his guy
KSI?
I was like fucking Googling. I'm like, the kids were like, you're training Jesus. So I was like, all right, settle down.
Well, you know what? When we put the show on, so when we put the second one on, when we done KSI versus Logan Paul in Manchester, in the Manchester Arena, like 20,000 kids. And to explain what it was like you'd gone into a coma and come out 10 years later, and you'd gone in, and there was two rock stars that were fighting that you didn't have a clue they were. Because like we had people like Anthony Yard was there, and like Jake Wood was there. I was there, and like loads of boxers were there. And all these little screaming kids were running past. There was this little kid with glasses, little nerdy kid sitting there. They'd all be running up screaming. I'm like, who the fuck's that? Yeah. It's like another world, man. Like it was, I couldn't believe it. Like honestly, I was blown away at this. It was a whole new world that, that I was introduced to. But yeah, that was a mad experience, man. I booked Mike Buffer over for that one, KSI. So basically they said, yeah, can you get Mike Buffer? I said, yes. I spoke to Mike Buffer.
I watched that shit. Right. We all did.
So we done Mike Buffer for KSI Logan Paul. Mike come over and we were staying in Lowry. So when he come over, he obviously knew me because we worked together and stuff. And he's sitting there, he was like, what is this going on here? And I'm like, Mike, he said, look, I've Googled it because Mike, he said, I wouldn't put my name to it. He said, but I recognize that this is a whole new world, man. Like he said, I said, Mike, they are going to reach, they got like 1 billion views on that fight or something. 1 billion views, like something mad. I think they live pay-per-view. Is that me?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Live. Oh, there you go. Live pay-per-views. I think live pay-per-views they had like 2.9 million or something, but they had another fucking 5 million streaming it or something. And I think overall they had about 1 billion views. It was something insane anyway. It was like the highest ever watched boxing match or something. It's just crazy. So yeah, insane, man.
To this day,
do you think it's going to end up pear-shaped? Because Jake is calling out actual fighters now. My thing is I think boxing is for everyone, and I think you learn so much about yourself in the ring, but there almost needs to be its own league. Like the fact that you're now a pro boxer licensed, this is where it gets a bit murky.
Right. Do you know what the problem was there? When we put on those first two events, they were white collar boxing events and they were fun and they were brilliant. And the crowd, the average age in the crowd was like 14. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's like when they would like, fucking the noise they made was incredible. And it was really good as a spectacle. It was brilliant. Then the YouTube boxers started turning professional. And now we got a problem because I think they're two different sports. I totally agree with the white collar boxing thing, and I just don't think the YouTube boxers really should be boxers. I mean, not taking anything away from Logan as a boxer. I think he's good, but I think that you're asking for trouble really, because when you're calling out. I mean, did you see that last fight with what was his name? Nate Campbell.
Nate Robinson.
Right.
Nate Robinson.
I know this is really bad karma, but sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I will fire up that knockout and it cheers me right up.
Man.
Because that man had never ever been in a ring before.
Yeah.
But someone said to him, "You're gonna do a fight with a YouTuber," and he was like, "Yeah, but I'm a basketballer, so it's gonna be all right." And it was just like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, it was, and it was a really bad, horrible knockout, man.
It was,
and that's when I was like, alarm bells ringing here. Like, they've got to be careful now, because this is like serious. You've got small gloves on, no head guards, people that are not used to boxing, and you're seeing bad knockouts like that. You go, that's like, it doesn't leave a nice taste in your mouth. So I'm like, I wish they would just stick to doing it the way that they do it.
Yeah.
And don't do the crossover, because the crossover don't work.
Also, too, like the count he got for the first knockdown was like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
it's like if someone's not used to taking shots, it does so much more because they're not braced for it. Then you're giving him 30. There could be actual damage, and then 100%. You're sending him out again. It's like fucking someone's going to get hurt if you've got gloves on. That doesn't make a boxing. So if you're calling out actual fighters, this can go real bad real quick if someone just gets the hump and be like, I'm not playing this game anymore, kid. Like,
I totally agree. I just think that they need to be very careful with it, look at it, make sure that all the procedures are in place, because it's the mismatches that are a concern. Like Nate Robinson should never have been in a boxing ring. He wouldn't have even qualified to be an amateur. It was like, and you could see that straight away. That was evident. So
mate, he was an awful white collar.
He was, man. Honestly, he was.
I tell you what, if that was pro, the way he got up after the first knockdown and he looked at the ref and he like literally looked at the ref like, that geezer just punched me in the fucking head. Are you?
Yeah.
Like, that would have been called off as a pro. That ref would have just gone, mate, this ain't for you.
Yeah,
but
basketball courts that way.
Yeah,
exactly. I get that. I get the whole like, it's bringing a new generation to the boxing world, etc., etc. But actually, they're not. They're just watching their YouTube, man. It's not like they're like, you might get a little ripple effect. Someone like, I love boxing or whatever. But I think that I just don't think the two mix. If I'm honest, I'm not a big fan of the YouTube boxing in the pro rings. Definitely not.
Also, when Billy Joe's an undercard fighter, you're just like, and Devin Haney as well. You're like, fuck. Yeah, and like you said, those kids, don't tell me those kids are going to watch Billy Joe's next fight. They're just going to watch KSI like jump off something the next video he makes,
I agree. Well, he's killing it now in the charts, isn't he? KSI is like he's like, everything that kid does turns to gold. Like he's racking out number ones left, right, and centre now.
He's like The Rock. Whatever he touches, just gold.
He is, man. He is. You got to take your hat off to the guy. He's like a genius, because
for sure.
We're talking about a kid that started off doing FIFA cheats. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just about, he's from his bedroom, and like, what he's done for himself is incredible. And I love being involved in doing them fights with KSI, with Logan Paul, KSI with Joe Weller. But and then they decided to take it to another level, which I don't think was the right thing. So I think they can still earn money doing it on the white collar scene, because it's all about, what it's like with them kids. It's all about the views. It's all about the numbers. It's like, and so that's where I'd like to see it kept anyway.
I mean, this video here is probably going to get in the mid-30s. So, like,
they better watch out.
That's proper size, isn't it? Like, KSI, look, he's got millions. He's got like a loyal audience, but is he happy? There's the question for KSI. He's probably very happy, isn't he? Yeah, he's probably absolutely smashing it. He's probably sitting there playing PlayStation, going, "Oh, mate."
Yeah,
get the bank statements again.
Cash, like, what'd you say?
Hold on, is he happy? Let me think about this. He's happy.
In a big way. How do you feel this weekend goes? Because I think it'd be very rude not to speak about this weekend with Gibraltar as well, because COVID has rendered Gibraltar a sporting location for the first time ever.
God bless it.
Mate, man. Listen, what they're looking at, 500 fans in there. Sure. I think it was a case. I'll tell you how it's all happened. It's because Dillian Whyte, when he boxed Povetkin in Eddie's back garden, basically, it was an eerie atmosphere. Dillian didn't like it. Obviously, he was controlling the fight. The shot landed, and Povetkin pulled the shot out of nowhere. You know, it was incredible, man. Like, if you break the fight down, like Dillian was dominating from the first round with a jab, then the right hand come into play, then Povetkin started coming in low. Dillian had him over twice in the fourth. Then he made that fundamental mistake of throwing a lazy right hand out, going square, and boom, the uppercut landed from a guy that's a great fighter. You know, not was a great fighter, is a great fighter. You know, he might be older, he might be slower, but he's still a good fighter. And I think that Dillian recognises now, they've got into a situation where Dillian was one fight away from boxing the winner of AJ versus Fury. One shot later, one knockout later, now he finds himself in a position where he's one fight away from his career being effectively over at that level. Yeah. You know, if he don't win this fight, he may never get his world title shot. So it's a massive turnaround. Our boxing can change, man. And so I think Dillian going to Gibraltar was a way that he just wanted a crowd there, some sort of atmosphere to try and, you know, some fighters feed off a crowd. Yeah. Some fighters prefer it, in an area empty hall. But I've boxed in both actually, and I much prefer boxing in front of a crowd. I boxed in a multi-nations tournament as a kid in Liverpool, and I was the first fight on. It was the St George's Hall, and I was like, there was about 3 people in there, and it was horrible. I couldn't. Yeah. You can't. It's a horrible feeling. So I get why he's gone out there, and Gibraltar, because they're virtually COVID free. Yeah. Sort of makes sense, really. I sort of understand it. I do understand it, but shit, man, there's a lot on the line now for Dillian.
There's a lot of pressure in it.
Lot of pressure, mate. Even more so than the first one. Fact. Do I think he'll put the wrongs right? I do. I think he'll get it right, because I think that he won't make that mistake again. And I'll tell you another genius move, what he's done, Dillian. He's brought in Harold Knight. Harold Shallow Knight. And Harold Knight was a guy, for people that might not know, was a guy that avenged, he teamed up with Lennox Lewis, and Lennox avenged his 2 losses to Oliver McCall and Hussein Rahman, the only 2 people that knocked him out. Harold Knight was brought on board, and he avenged those losses. So he's a very experienced guy, and he will know what Dillian's going through at this stage, and that's a massive plus for Dillian. Having that experience in the corner, that will really help. I think on the downside of Dillian, on the flip side, with Povetkin, is now Povetkin's got this newfound confidence where he goes, actually, if I hit this guy, I'm going to knock him spark out. And that's going to get, that's a difficult thing for Dillian. He's going to go in there as, with a new mindset. It's a tough fight, it's a real tough fight. I sort of feel sorry for Dillian that he's in this position, really, if I'm honest.
Yeah. If he does right the wrong and wins, he doesn't become the number 3 heavyweight anymore. He just becomes like 3C with Wilder, Usyk, Ruiz. Like, he just kind of goes into the not 1 and 2 field, and it's just even, isn't it? Yeah, and then Yeah. Do
you know what the situation is? So Joshua and Fury signed a 2-fight deal, which could turn into a trilogy, because if they win 1 each, they could do it again. But then you got the next tier, which is like who's the next tier? Like your Andy Ruiz, your Deontay Wilders, Dillian Whyte if he comes through, Joe
Usyk's knocking about.
Joyce, Parker, Usyk. Yep. So there's a lot of fights there, a lot of box office fights there. If he wins, he's still in the mix. So although they might not be fighting for titles, they'll still be fighting big fights, box office, big money. If he loses, he's out of the picture. Them fights are not there then. And then that's a big problem, because to get back in that picture is going to be a long road, because we've got so many good heavyweights out there now. So I think the idea of Dillian winning is, you're right, he still won't get that title shot for a long time, but he put himself in the mix for some big paydays, and ultimately that's what it's all about, big paydays and good fights.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love Dillian to win, but it's one of them things with Povetkin, right? He always does well against people his size. He is ex-world champion, Olympic gold medalist. Like, the shot that he landed with him, it was surprising for us to see, but it was just that he saw that and found it. Right?
Yeah.
You can't deny
think it was nuts how much people were ruling him out, because, like you said, he may be a bit on the older side, but he's one of them guys that just becomes experience. Like, even against AJ, he fought a hell of a fight at the start until he started getting stuck. He was doing great. He was getting on the inside. It was making him get a bit chinny and everything. Do
you know what? When we was in fight camp for that one, like, so it was we were staying in a hotel, which the Povetkin was in. So because we was there for the week, we was getting up close and personal and watching Povetkin train properly because he was still a week out. So I was actually watching him going in and watching him hit the pads properly, hit the bag properly. Mate, honestly, I was like, fuck, this guy's a dangerous guy. He's still got a lot left in the tank. Forget that he's 40 years of age. I went, this guy is dangerous. If you get it wrong with Povetkin, he loves throwing hooks to the body, whipping right hands over. He loves getting on in the inside. I went, if Dillian gets, I went, this is a real fight. And yeah, that complacency may have played a part with Dillian because I think as the rounds were unfolding, I think he thought he had the fight in the bag. But, you know, with a guy with that experience, and you reeled off his, you know, his history with the Olympic golds and world champion and etc. With a guy with that experience that's still got something left, you can't take them chances because you're right. He'll see that opportunity and he'll take it, bang. And that's what he done. He saw that opportunity and he slipped down, bent that front knee and whoop, whipped, shot in. You know, it was beautifully executed, man. He done really well.
Yeah, I mean, he's only ever lost to AJ and Klitschko, right?
Hold on, why did I turn myself off? Sorry about that. That's what I'm saying. He's only lost to AJ and Klitschko, and like you say, I was at that one with AJ as well, and he give AJ a go, man. He give AJ problems for a few rounds, and so yeah, it's a dangerous fight. It's a hard fight. It's a hard fight, especially going into the immediate rematches. If you look through history, not many people win the immediate rematch.
No,
you know, so yeah. Look, I'm praying that he pulls it off and he does it, but it's a tough night. It's a tough fight, man. Tough fight. Good undercard as well. There's a wicked undercard. I was about to say
Fabio, right? Like Fabio. Like I love Fabio Wardley. Like he's just such a G. He's just looks the part, is the part, fights the part. Like how can you not love him?
Great backstory too.
Great backstory.
Yeah, he's incredible, man. White collar boxer and all that. Just mad, man. The way that he got found. And you're right, he's an athlete. He's like Anthony Joshua. Like Anthony Joshua walked into my dad's gym at the age of 18 with no boxing experience. By the time he was 21, he was world silver medalist. You know what I mean? 22 Olympic champion. It was like a mad story, a mad journey. Like he trained at my club. That's where he was found, at Finchley Boxing Club. It's like, yeah, but they're just naturally talented, like Fabio is. Yeah. I see the fight that's going to be fight of the night on there. Ted Cheeseman versus JJ Metcalf. That is going to be fight of the night. That will be like stylistic. Fireworks, unreal. So a lot of people don't know this, but JJ Metcalf is Shane Neary's son. I don't know if people remember Shane Neary. Do you remember Shane Neary? No. Shane Neary was he boxed Mickey Ward, Irish Mickey Ward.
Oh, yeah, right.
He's from Liverpool, and Shane Neary boxed. He was light welterweight champion of the world. He lost to Mickey Ward over here, but he had a string of unbelievable fights. But he had this mad military thing that he used to do, where he used to just lock himself away for 12 weeks, live on beans, and like go right. Fucking love it. He was a hard dude, man. If anyone ain't seen him, have a look at Shane Neary. And not a lot of people know it, but JJ Metcalf is his son. Shay works in the corner. And he boxes like Shane Neary. Like he is a tough nut. He's got that DNA in him. And that's why I go, mate, that's going to be a hard fight, because Ted Cheeseman, he don't take no backward steps. That is going to be that's a great fight.
How is Ted Cheeseman only 25 though?
I know.
I mean, he's got some city miles on him, isn't he, the boy?
He has, mate. He has. But listen, do you know what? Ted will have an easy fight hard. Like what I'm saying is, Ted loves fighting like that. And he's been around. Like he's only 25, but he's been around a long time. He's done everything like from young, and like he's been in some wars already, man. Like some wars. And I tell you what, Saturday night is
it's going to be another one, isn't it?
Yeah. So no exclusion. This one's going to be like, oh, mate, like I can't. That's the fight that's getting me going on this whole bill. That's the fight that I'm really paying for. Yeah, I want to see that.
I'm really interested to see Campbell. Obviously, like who's British and wasn't a Ricky fan. Yeah, it's a dark one, isn't it? Because like you're always going to have that looming over you. Hopefully, he becomes his own. I think like Conor Benn, like Tim Tszયુ's terrifying.
Yeah,
you know. What I mean?
Do you know what it is? It's like. This is my theory on these kids like Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn. They aspire to be like their dads. So they've got that DNA anyway, but they want to be like their dads, but they also want to come out of their dad's shadows. So that gives them that extra little drive. Like if you see Chris Eubank Jr. training, or you see Conor Benn training, I've never seen anyone train like it. Like they train, and that's because they want to come out of their dad's shadows. They want to make their dads, they want to be their dads. And that pushes them, that gives them a drive, mate, that takes them, they go to where other humans don't go. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's my theory on it. And Campbell's cut from that cloth because of his dad. His dad was that superstar status as well, and his dad was as good as he was. Campbell wants to emulate that. Do you know what I mean? And to do that, he'll push himself far and beyond. And so I think that they'll do a good job with Campbell because obviously he got the hype behind him because he's turning pro and everything else. So he's getting loads of coverage. And what they'll do is, a lot of people might not remember, but Ricky Hatton had like 24, 25 fights before he boxed for a British title.
Yeah.
I was fucking European champion after 11 fights. I was slugging straight in there. But what I'm saying is like he had time to develop, and they'll do that with Campbell because Campbell's still a young kid. He's still got a lot to learn, but they'll get him and he'll have time to develop, and they'll build him up and he'll become a name. Like I'll tell you a prime example, and he's the most improved fighter in Britain, and that's Conor Benn. Conor Benn is the most improved fighter in Britain, but you know what? He's the first kid in the gym, and he's the last one to leave. He's the fucking one up earliest in the morning running, and he'll go on the longest run. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you only get out in this sport what you put in.
Yeah, Chavez Jr. needed a bit more of that to emulate his.
He did, mate. Well, do you know what? But Chavez Jr. had that, and he lost his way. Like, what I'm saying is, as a young kid, if you look at his first 20, 30 fights, he was doing it, man. He was smashing it. And then all of a sudden,
getting Freddie Roach to come to his house to train him. I mean, fucking come on.
I know, man. Come on. But he just he lost his way. But he had that in him. He had that DNA in him to start with. He had that hunger in him. But if you lose the hunger as a fighter and you let things distract you, you're done.
Too comfy in those silk pajamas. That was it.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
I mean, we had Sergio Martinez on, which was Sergio's a fucking massive legend, right? Yeah. And there was a moment there where we asked who was the best that he fought, and he said Chavez Jr.
He didn't, but
are you sure? Have you checked it?
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't him.
Have you checked it?
He was talking about Cotto. Because it was a changeover of conversation. We were talking about the message about the phone. I'm telling you. We'll go back and listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say he's boxing big names, man, because he has boxed some big names, to be fair. But you know what? He's a great guy as well, man. I watched him over here a number of occasions. Yeah. Sergio Martinez, he's a gentleman. But he's a classic example of what you get out, what you put in. He was a grafter, man. He put in some great performances.
He started playing football at 17, and then made it to a C division professional Argentinian team. Sure, why not? And then went, I'll give this a little bit of a tip, and 21 started boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just like a mega athlete, isn't it? It's just out of control.
Insane. That's what I'm saying. It's just mad. Who was the other one? Bernard Hopkins started boxing really late as well. Yeah, but that was after a life of not living good or being But
in fairness, Wilder too. Wilder just for his daughter. Yeah, Wilder started proper late, and to go. Go to the Olympics so short. And we got to mention Lawrence. Fucking hell.
Just
absolutely, getting that
man.
Strap. From McDonald's to the world title.
Love it. Love the journey, man. And you know what? Lawrence only come of age in his last fight on the undercard. I think it was Jeswatsky or his name. I think that was his name. On the undercard of AJ on December the 12th, he found everything. It clicked. Like Shane McGuigan's done a great job with him, and it all just come together. Like, he's always been one of those fighters you've watched and gone, you know what, he don't look impressive, but he always finds a way to win. But then on the 12th, I went, he's ready. I seen that performance, man, and everything seemed to come together. I think that him and Shane have built up a good relationship together, and it seems to have worked. And that performance on Saturday night, mate, was impressive. Glowacki was a good fighter, man. Tough fighter, but he made him look.
He shut him down. Yeah,
shut him down. Yeah, he did.
How do you feel about you know, like there's a lot of stick now for trainers. So like Adam Booth had a tsunami of it after the Josh Kelly thing. Tunde after the Arthur fight and the Kovalev fight. Like, do you think it's? I mean, what? How do you feel? Like, because obviously you work with Adam, so I know you can't get too like deep in it, but it's a bit strong, isn't it?
What did you say? What, say that again? Sorry,
So for example, like with when Josh Kelly got beat by someone that's a previous world champion who was a definitive step up after all of this time, right? You know, Adam Booth took a lot of abuse online, and like we watched the video where it was just like this geezer was just like absolutely tearing shreds off of fighter and trainer. And then obviously Tunde had the same thing. And you know, these trainers are like they're big UK trainers with like hot prospect fighters. Like, I mean, how do you see? I mean,
just
do you
with
see
everything, people are so quick to chat shit.
Well,
they love them when they're up, and
yeah, exactly. That's the world that we're in, unfortunately. You know, and it's like, you know, trainers get a lot of abuse for, you know, sticking their fighters in. Like Tunde got it when he put Andy Yard in with Kovalev. And Adam Booth just recently got it when he's gone up and they've stepped up. Basically, they stepped the fighters up to see if they're ready at that level. And it was proven that Josh Kelly wasn't ready. Avanesian's a great fighter. And he's still world class. You know, you can't go for him losing his world title. Since then, he's won the European title, defended it, and looked great doing it. So they've got to give him an opportunity at some point. And I just think that in the Josh Kelly situation, it was just too soon. I think he's a great fighter, and I think he can learn from it and rebuild. But like Anthony Yard, you know, like I know that he lost to Lyndon Arthur as well. But what I'm saying is they can learn and rebuild. They're still young enough to do that. So it's a calculated gamble that never paid off. But sometimes they do, and then the trainer's the best trainer in the world. And when they don't, the trainer's the worst trainer in the world. That's the world we're in, man. I think that, you know, I don't think Adam takes it personally. I don't think, you know, it happens to all trainers. You know, these situations happen. It's just a calculated gamble. Kelly even started that fight favourite. I don't know how they done that, because me as an outsider, I was looking at it going, I don't think he wins this fight. I think it's too much too soon. But, you know, Adam knows his fighters, and he obviously felt that was the right move. But, you know, it never paid off.
Because the same people that are so quick to say that they fight nothing but, you know, cans and this and that are the same ones saying, oh, you know, it's like, they got to try. Do you want them like staying down?
Yeah. You've gone from cans to fillet steak. I mean, fucking hell, mate, what do you want? You know what I mean? I'm giving you everything here. You've gone from beef burger to fillet steak. What fucking, you know, give us a chance. You know, when we're eating when we're feeding him the burgers, you're going, crap, I want to see him in with a bit of steak. So I'll give him a bit of fillet steak, and you're going, whoa, that was too much. Take it back down to the burgers. It's like, come on, man. Yeah,
well,
man.
We'll wrap this up after
going
this.
On this phone. I don't know how long I've got on it.
Right,
yeah,
all right. We'll go until it stops. Just to finish up, Billy Joe Canelo, hit me.
Right, Billy Joe Canelo, great fight, by the way, if I'm honest. But it's a great fight. But, you know, Canelo's looked on top of his game. He's looked sensational. Right, let's break it down. I'll break it down for you like this. Callum Smith versus Billy Joe Saunders. Whoa, I don't know, man. A lot of people would lean towards Callum Smith. Callum Smith got the opportunity to fight Canelo. I thought, you know what? This is the only super middleweight out there that's going to give Canelo a go. Canelo ruled it from round one. He just broke him down, man, until the point of when we got to about round 9 or 10, it started becoming painful to watch. Yeah, that highlighted to me how good Canelo is, how good he is. Every shot he throws is a power punch. Every shot he throws is precise. You know, a lot of people saying, yeah, but Billy's got the southpaw skills to keep him away. But the big question mark is, does he have the strength to keep him away? Because Canelo is just extraordinary. What he does is he makes you work with his feet without even doing anything. He puts so much pressure on with the feet. He makes his opponents work and make mistakes, and then he makes them pay. That's a big ask for Billy Joe. Listen, I want him to win. I pray he wins, but realistically, I can't see it. I can't see it, man. Not in front of 80,000 people out in the States. I think that's a tough ask. You know, he's training, he's giving it everything. But my big worry is that Canelo's just so strong, man. He's so strong. I mean, I just could not get over how easy he made that fight with Callum Smith. Like, Callum
I
Smith,
think we were shocked as well. Yeah.
I rate him. I thought it was going to be a tough fight. And I was like, wow, this geezer's even better than I thought he was, you know? And that worries me for Billy, if I'm honest.
And he's getting better as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's getting better.
Yeah.
And he always comes with a different version of himself. He's not like one of the ones where he kind of pigeonholes himself. It's like his footwork improves and then his head movement against Jacobs.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do you know what? That's what makes a great fighter, the adaptability. And that they're still learning at this age. Like, if you look back to when he boxed Mayweather, you know, when he boxed Mayweather or when he boxed Cotto, if you look back to them fights, you go, fucking hell, this is a different bloke. And he was pushing them then. You know, but he's just improved so much. Like you say, that little head movement that he does now, like, you know, working, make pressure in his fighter with the feet. And like every shot he throws for 12 rounds is a power punch. He doesn't throw any other shot but a power. Even a jab's a power punch. You think, where's this geezer getting this energy from? It's incredible.
And his resume, he fights nothing but murderers. We were having this discussion. I'm like, because Billy Joe, I get that he fights up, but Canelo doesn't take days off. When he fought Yildirim, he beat the fuck out of him. It's not like, oh, you know, he's not there for that. And Billy Joe, the movement will cause problems at first, but I don't think he can fight Canelo off him. That's the problem. Like 12 rounds is a long time.
That's my worry, man. Exactly that. Billy's got the boxing skills and the movement to be able to do it. But can he do it for 12 rounds with someone like Canelo, who's great at working fighters out, great at adapting through fights, you know? Yeah.
Let's see. It's going to be a great fight.
Great fight, man. Oh,
Mr. Oliver, we'll let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, mate. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, man. It's been great catching up with you.
Thank you so much, man.
Really appreciate it.
Podcast.
Cheers, guys. God bless you, man. And you're doing a great job. Keep it going.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother.
Cheers.
Take care. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
Take care, man. Bye, bye, bye.
See you, bye.